Well, a new study has debunked the long-held myth that a high-fat dairy diet is bad for you. According to new Swedish research, those who eat 8 portions of full-fat dairy a day are much less likely to develop type 2 diabetes. So for more, we're joined by today's show medical expert Dr. Ross Walker. Good morning to you, Ross.
Morning, Lisa.
Is this a surprise to you?
Not in the slightest.
No? Why is that?
No, because I've been saying for years there's no link between saturated fat and heart disease. Cambridge University just released a trial, 600,000 people, 72 different trials put together, no link between meat, eggs, dairy and heart disease. Now what this is saying, excuse me, is that in milk especially, there's a particular type of saturated fat called stearic acid that protects you against diabetes.
Right.
So we've been demonising saturated fat for so long, and there's no reason to do so.
Although, to be fair, there's been a lot of things coming out recently saying that fat is good for you, including when it comes to weight loss.
Of course, yeah. So if you go onto a high, good quality fat diet, which is basically natural fats.
Yeah.
We're not talking about trans fats, which are all the synthetic fats you get in processed, packaged, muck masquerading at food.
Yep.
We're talking about the natural fats we get in all of these sort of foods we're seeing here.
OK, well, we're meant to get 8 servings a day. Can you tell us how much is a serving and which foods we should be looking towards?
Well, a serving's basically a glass. So
a glass of milk would be one serving?
One serving, yeah. So if you have milk on your breakfast and you have a couple of cups of coffee a day and maybe a little bit of cheese and some yogurt, you're getting up to about 8 servings a day, and that's where you get the 23% reduction. But even one coffee a day with milk has been shown to reduce your risk for type 2 diabetes by about 20%.
Right, so if you're having a flat white or a cappuccino,
Yeah,
that would be one of
cream milk.
Don't go for the skinny latte.
Oh, no, it tastes dreadful as well.
And what about things like nuts and olive oil and eggs?
Terrific for you. There's no doubt that the olive oil, and it has to be extra virgin olive oil, which not only has the monounsaturated fats, but it also has all the antioxidants, the very strong, what we call polyphenols, that protect you. Nuts, if you have 10 or 15 natural nuts a day, reduces your risk for cardiovascular disease in a number of studies up to about 40–50% just by having 10 or 15 natural nuts a day.
So if you want to keep the weight off, I mean, all of this is good, but it's really important you don't put sugar into that mix of 8 servings of
Of course, and we're talking about total caloric intake as well. We're not saying going overboard. We're just saying having good natural food. We've got fish there. All of these things are so good for you. Avocado's terrific for you.
It's all delicious.
And good for you.
It's all good news. Dr. Ross, always good to see you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Over to you, Carl.
Love that fish over there, Lisa, the fish. Remember we featured a fish yesterday that had a wonderful owner who spent $400 on keeping it alive? Well, that fish, that's as dead as a doornail.
I don't think anything's going to save that fish.
Sometimes it's the way it's meant to be.
Having 3 servings of dairy a day could help lower your risk of heart disease, a new study claims. The last few years have seen the rise of the anti-dairy health fad, with advocates saying whole milk and other dairy products, high in saturated fat, raise LDL cholesterol, which increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. But researchers said they found those who consumed 3 servings of milk, cheese, butter or cream per day were almost 2 times less likely to suffer from heart disease and strokes, compared to having fewer servings. The team, led by McMaster University in Ontario, Canada, says its findings show that consuming dairy shouldn't be discouraged, and in fact should be encouraged in low-income and middle-income countries where dairy intake is low. Currently, the U.S. Dietary Guidelines for Americans 2015 to 2020 recommends no more than 3 servings of dairy a day and advises to choose fat-free and low-fat options. This is based on research that has shown saturated fats found in whole fat products raises your LDL cholesterol, a marker of heart disease. However, past evidence has suggested there are a number of nutrients found in dairy products, including calcium, potassium, magnesium, vitamins K1 and K2 and probiotics in yogurt that could contribute to a healthy diet. Diet is one of the most important modifiable risk factors of chronic disease, led author Dr. Mashi Degan, a senior research associate at McMaster University, told Daily Mail Online. And because dairy has magnesium, potassium, all these vitamins, we wanted to see if there was a link between consumption and chronic disease for the study. The team looked at more than 136,000 people from 21 countries who had participated in the prospective urban-rural epidemiological PURE study. The PURE study looks at environmental, societal and biological effects on obesity and chronic health issues including heart disease, diabetes and cancer. The participants, who were between ages 35 and 70, were divided into 4 categories. No dairy, less than 1 serving per day, 1 to 2 servings per day, and more than 2 servings per day. A serving was determined as being equivalent to a glass of milk, a cup of yogurt, 1 15-gram slice of cheese, or a teaspoon of butter. Researchers noted the dietary intakes of the participants at the study's start in 2003 and followed them for about 9 years. The high-intake group, which had an average of 3 servings per day, was found to have lower rates of death due to cardiovascular and non-cardiovascular causes, heart disease and stroke compared to the no-intake group. Additionally, those who only consumed whole fat at a higher intake, around 3 servings per day, had lower rates of death and heart disease than those who less than 0.5 servings of whole-fat dairy per day. The team also found that the highest dairy consumption was in North America and Europe, where participants had 4 or more servings per day. Consumption was lowest in Southern Asia and Africa, where participants ate an average of less than 1 serving per day. There are many factors that affect the pattern of consumption, because the food culture in various countries is different, Dr. Degan said. But we see the same trends. No matter which country we looked, the trends were the same. She says more research is needed as to why dairy is linked to low levels of heart disease, as well as looking into overall diet quality in different countries. What I really want to emphasize is that consumption shouldn't be discouraged but encouraged, especially in low-income countries and even in high-income countries where consumption is low, Dr. Megan said. We are not saying people eating 7 servings of dairy a day should increase their intake, but that 3 servings, moderation, is good for you.